A moment that was supposed to be a touching farewell turned into an unexpected tension. Jimin, who's usually calm and full of smiles, appeared emotional after an incident involving Jungkook. The silence between them, once just a rumor among soldiers, has now become an undeniable reality. Is this just the pressure of military duty, or is there something deeper that's long been hidden? It's been nearly 2 years since Jimin and Jungkook left the dazzling stage to wear green uniforms. They were assigned to different divisions, Jungkook in the 5th Division, while Jimin was in general military training. However, in recent months, they've been given a chance to serve in the same operational area. It should have been a moment for them to support each other, but instead, it brought them into an unexpected situation. Whispers about Jimin's change in behavior started to spread among soldiers. Some witnesses said it all began after Jimin received a letter from his family. The content was shocking. His father was ill, but due to strict military protocols, he couldn't immediately go home to visit. Since then, the look in his eyes changed. He still smiled, but it wasn't the same. Jungkook, who had always been by his side, seemed to grow more distant. The breaking point happened one night during heavy rain in the middle of training. Jungkook suddenly ran toward Jimin's tent. Some witnesses said they had a fight. Some said Jimin cried and asked to be left alone. One thing is certain, after that night, their relationship was no longer the same. Jimin became more closed off, while Jungkook spent more time alone. And an internal interview conducted by the military, Jungkook once revealed something surprising. With swollen eyes and a trembling voice, he said, "I thought I'd be strong, but turns out I'm not as strong as I thought." His military helmet with the name, John Jungkook, lay beside him, wet from rain and intense training. He wasn't just carrying the burden of weapons, but also a guilt he couldn't express. A loved one slowly drifting away without us realizing. It hurts more than any physical wound, he continued. Those words hinted that something more than just military pressure was happening between them. A senior soldier revealed that Jungkook felt guilty for not always being there for Jimin during his tough times. "I could only stand there, watching him lost in thought, but I stayed silent. I was afraid of touching a wound that hasn't healed," Jungkook wrote in his personal notes. Jimin isn't the type to easily show weakness. He's used to holding everything in. But when Jungkook began to pull away, that's when the wounds he had began to hurt more. The days after that rainy night went on as usual for other soldiers, but not for them. No more light chats during breaks, no more carefree laughter like before. Jungkook often sat alone under a large pine tree, holding a worn-out piece of paper. The writing was faint, but the message was touching. "Kyung, do you remember that night? We ran away from the dorm just to go to a bakery in Busan. Back then we thought we were grown-ups, but we were just kids afraid of getting caught. But that night, I felt free." That night, without realizing, Jimin came and sat next to him. For the first time in a long while, he spoke, his voice barely audible. "My father is sick. I couldn't tell anyone. I was afraid of looking weak." Jungkook didn't reply right away. He just looked down, staring at the ground. Jimin continued, "I couldn't even cry when the letter came. I just sat there, then saw you laughing with other soldiers. And I felt alone." There was a long pause between them. Jungkook finally said, "I'm here, always." But those words felt too late. Days went by coldly, until the time came for a large-scale combat training. The drill involved a hostage rescue simulation in a hilly area. Fate brought them back together on the same team. But their cold relationship caused poor coordination on the field. The instructor began to notice their lack of teamwork. However, everything changed when Jimin had an accident during the exercise. While going down a steep slope, he slipped and fell several meters down. Everyone panicked. Without hesitation, Jungkook broke training protocol and ran toward Jimin. He didn't care about the commander's shouts or the risks he had to face. "I'm here, Hyung. Take my hand," Jungkook shouted with full conviction. For the first time in a long while, Jimin heard Jungkook speak to him so sincerely. When their hands touched, it wasn't just Jimin's body being lifted, but also their broken relationship. The training ended with an evaluation, but no one cared. The soldiers who witnessed that moment knew they had just seen something greater than scores or military ratings. They saw two friends trying not to lose each other. When farewell day finally came, Jimin would finish his military service first. Jungkook stood on the training field, staring blankly at the barracks where Jimin spent his final days in the army. "Hope you don't forget me out there," he whispered, words recorded in one fellow soldier's journal. Now, only time can tell whether the wounds they've endured over the past 2 years will make them stronger or create even more distance. Army, who has been waiting for them to return to entertainment, now faces a big question. Is their bond still the same as before? What exactly has Jungkook been hiding from Jimin that caused this tension? One thing's for sure, their story isn't just about two celebrities serving the military. It's a story of two friends tested by time, distance, and unspoken feelings. And now, the world can only wait. Will they return as two inseparable stars, or as two individuals forever changed? The incident involving Jimin and Jungkook during military service has gone viral across social media platforms. Videos, interview clips, even fan-made analyses are circulating on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and various online forums. But is all this information true? Or is it just a narrative created for attention? As consumers of information, we must ask, how true is this story? Are the sources reliable, or are they fabricated for sensationalism? Nowadays, the digital world allows anyone to spread information in seconds. A short post on Twitter can turn into fact, believed by millions just because it gets a lot of retweets and comments. Same with TikTok videos, edited dramatically, often without real proof, yet able to shape public opinion. In the case of Jimin and Jungkook, we need to ask, is there any official confirmation from the military or BTS's agency, HYB? If not, then where did this information come from? It's important to realize that the entertainment industry, especially K-pop, isn't free from media manipulation. Sensation and speculation are often used to keep artists popular. Sometimes, an issue is crafted just to stay in the spotlight. In this context, we must ask, could the narrative about Jimin and Jungkook's strained relationship during service be intentionally amplified to keep public attention on BTS during their hiatus? Even more, we must examine how this story spread. Some fans claim to get info from insiders or anonymous sources that can't be verified. How credible are these sources? Can we trust a narrative just because many are talking about it? Or is this just the result of confirmation bias, where we believe something because it fits our hopes or emotions? In today's fast-paced digital world, being skeptical is crucial. We need to distinguish between fact and opinion, between news based on evidence and mere assumptions amplified by social media popularity. If this story is true, why hasn't there been an official statement from the parties involved? Why is it only circulating as speculation with no concrete proof? As fans, we have a responsibility not to accept every circulating piece of information without verification. We need to ask, what's the impact of spreading unverified news? Could it personally harm Jimin and Jungkook? What if this story only creates misunderstandings that worsen their situation? This event teaches us to be more careful when consuming information. Every story has two sides, and without clear evidence, we can't just believe one narrative. Therefore, before spreading or even believing a story, we must ask, is this based on fact or fabrication? How much does social media influence our opinions? And most importantly, are we truly seeking the truth, or just wanting to believe what matches our emotions? In closing, we invite you to reflect. Are you really sure this event is real? Or is it just an exaggerated story made for attention? Don't easily believe what's viral without verification. Use your logic, check the sources, and always think critically. Truth doesn't always come from what's most talked about, but from evidence that can be held accountable. When facing issues like this, it's important to stay rational and not be swept away by emotions. If there is tension between Jimin and Jungkook, it's part of the natural dynamics of human relationships. But without concrete proof, we have to ask, are we seeking truth or just enjoying the drama created by social media? HYB has not issued any official statement regarding this matter, and major media outlets haven't reported it with valid confirmation.